When you kick an episode off with a remark like this, all I could think was, I hope someone who continues to just gaslight, abuse, and want to break someone he claims to love will get exposed, right? Like, just, that's what you hope. But I also wasn't expecting it to seemingly expose at episode 5. And the fact that seemingly they did that has me incredibly intrigued for what's to come, because I mean, it's not impossible, but on the flip side, it just kind of feels like there's no way he gets removed from that group, right? Because if so, then at that point, you're just going to have to make another character hateable, or at the very least, you want to push back against, because clearly our main character, this man who is the one trying to be the glue that keeps friends together, he's a crazy bastard. I mean, apparently there was 3 traps, which if there has ever been an anime that has been genius at telling the viewers to go back and rewatch previous episodes, Tomodachi game probably is one of the best at doing so. I truly thought the kind of like observers, the people who are like watching in, who clearly don't have all the knowledge but are just trying to piece together everything themselves, I thought they were going to explain it at the end, but no, they're just like, no, there was 3 traps, but if you go back and watch, you can see how. Truthfully, no idea how this man was able to navigate that ending, and I don't want spoilers, because this is what makes the show so fun, is seeing the bombshells drop one by one. But I mean, this is going to be one of those shows that if I do rewatch, which I do plan to, but I'm going to do it when it's over, holy shit, there's going to be like some Attack on Titan revelations, it feels like, in terms of how did I not see that coming? But it was foreshadowed to do so. But I mean, just the idea that he was actually seemingly able to turn the tides and make it so what seemed to be a failure, which at this point I'm thinking wasn't even a like accidental failure. The idea that, hey, if we all just badmouth ourselves sort of a thing, we can basically pinpoint, we can all get together and everything will be a-okay. Because even though it's a complicated rule set on paper, if you do really break down the rules, there's a lot of ways to succeed and fail based on how you follow those rules. And the fact that this game is all about breaking trust early on because there's so much penalties at the beginning, but versus the end, it actually balances out to 0. It's just really cool to see how he deducts certain things, but then the fact that there's no limit to how many cards you can place in a box, and the fact that this man was able to like put 10 of them in, it was just like, you never quite know when these characters are gonna pull a fast one, and that's why I thought Tenji was gonna get out of this one. I really, truly thought that. I mean, he's just hoping that this girl breaks to the point of only wanting him, and you know, this and that. I've been stalking her for years because apparently this man stole her from me and everything, and then just to see the buildup, because I'm not sure. I really am not sure, because there must have been a sign or a signal or something, right? That this man to each of them at certain points throughout the game has said, I suspect Tenji. Like, that's the only way my brain can comprehend him being the only one to admit to being the application, you know, saying like, I applied to be in this game. Because no matter what, even if they all put that down, that would have been a lie, right? So the fact that they all submitted blank tickets, right? The fact that he was the only one, and the fact that somehow he was able to signal to each of them not to do anything. I mean, the only thing that I could consider is that he didn't necessarily say that Tenji was responsible, but maybe he implied via signal, whether it was a hand tap or a whisper very quietly, submit a blank ticket. Like, that's the only thing that can cross my mind. But the fact that there was 3 of these moments that has led to this exposure. I mean, at first he was saying like, hey, I'll fake tears, I'll say I was blackmailed into doing it. And I love the fact that they build up in such a way, because so much of Yuuichi just seems like a kind-hearted guy. And then I love how he's crying me like, perfect, he's believing my bullshit. He grabs his hair like he's about to rip his head from his spine. And I'm like, okay, this man has some demons under his belt. And the fact that they're continuing to hint that this is, like, Yuichi's probably the biggest psychopath of them all, but we don't know what he's done. All that we know currently is that he doesn't want this group of friends to implode. And that's what's pretty fascinating, because I mean, from episode 1, you can go back and look at my impressions. I really enjoyed this show, and every week it seemingly has been getting better. Right now, there seems to be 2 points that make this show entertaining. The first point was, who the hell's the traitor, right? Because that was the biggest what if, and then they immediately reveal it, and I'm like, shit, where are we going from here? And then it was the Tenji, like really putting us in his mindset, seeing how crazy and deluded he was, and then they exposed that already. It feels like this is one of those stories that somehow, it's not trying to one-up itself, but it's almost like it has 20 different points in the story that are supposed to be equally interesting. Sure, people will pick their favorite points, but ultimately, kind of feels like an author who wants something to be as crazy as it can, where you think this is going to be the final point, like this will be the exposing, and then by the time you probably reach the ending, it's just like, what in the actual hell? How did this start off as a who stole the money, now we're in a death game without the death, and now we're here sort of a thing. I truly think this is one of the most entertaining shows this season. Like, I'm not going to say it's the best show, because I think in terms of like actual writing and other things, like there are better shows for me anyway. But in terms of pure entertainment passion, this is the show that entertains me the most in terms of talking about it. And I've seen so many people agree with that statement, being like, shit, you know, I love Spy Family, I love this, I love that, but god damn, this is the one that I actually go out of my way to talk about. Because these shows are fun as hell, man. These shows don't come around enough, but I'm so glad when they do, that they don't shit the bed. And I don't know how many manga and light novel out there are in a similar coat of paint, because anime doesn't get a lot of them, but that just usually means that anime isn't adapting the more quality source materials. But this show deserves a lot of hype so that we can, you know, maybe kickstart more shows like this to come out. Either way, I'm liking how seemingly it tries to make you think one thing and then it breaks out expectations. And it almost feels to me like they're setting up the third point of the story to be like, this man who is keeping them together, you know, maybe his own secrets are now going to start exposing, and maybe people will, you know, start cluing in, or maybe it will be like, even if Shibe himself didn't kill a guy, maybe he does have some insane secrets himself. Or maybe it will just be the next arc will be them trying to work together, and this man trying to outbeat the game that people are watching, observing, and trying to screw them around with. I have no idea. But in terms of dramatic directing, incredible voice acting, and just the what the hell moment cliffhangers, because honestly, I know people talk shit about cliffhangers. I've always said I love them because it makes me interested in watching more. These cliffhangers, I think, make people more happy than angry than from what I'm seeing, because this is one of those shows that, you know, you're just like, I already was going to watch the next episode, but I do need a week to kind of comprehend what in the actual hell I just saw. And somehow they continue to make cliffhangers more exciting than the, oh my god, did they just reveal a traitor? Oh my god, is this man really going to hurt this girl? Like, I have no idea where they're going, but they continue to one-up themselves. I mean, this show, I remember the first couple of episode reviews I've done, I remember people saying like, you know, it's not going to be anything that great. I'm just kind of watching it because it's a so bad it's a good show. And those comments quickly fell off, which I'm happy about, because I don't think that's anywhere close to what this show is. I think this is a damn amazing show, confident in what it's doing, and so far from what I can see, the studio that's clearly adapting the source is adapting something that, at the very least, at this point in the source material, the author knew what they were doing, and I'm hoping that's just going to continue going forward, because I've heard nothing but good things about people who read this manga, as well as saying the lead character, Yuuichi, is one of the craziest main characters they've ever seen, and one of their favorites. So, from what I'm seeing, I can completely see why they're saying it, but I imagine this is just getting started. Thoughts if you have any, let me know down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.